It's been almost 5 years since we've gotten a big brawler relationship video, and that was from the GOAT himself, Kairos. In that time, Brawl Stars has added over 50 additional brawlers to the game, introducing new relationships and dynamics between them. So in today's video, we will be going over all of their unique connections, starting with Rico and Piper, who are highly rumored to be dating, just don't ask me how. These two are one of the most recurring relationship Easter eggs within the game. Most recently, a heart with R plus P inside it appeared in the Swamp of Love environment. This most likely symbolizes Rico and Piper, as their relationship is pretty popular. We also saw how they first met in the My Sweet Valentine animation. Hints of a romantic relationship also sprouted in the Sugar and Spice animation, where Piper blew hearts in Rico's direction before abruptly blowing him up. Believe it or not, but this relationship actually started off as a fan theory that the developers turned into canon lore. This means that you could ship brawlers, and down the line it may become a reality. Just avoid shipping characters like Gale and Bonnie together, because that is just not right. Shelly is rather annoyed with Colt because he always steals the limelight away from her, which we saw within the No Time to Explain animation. This suggests that their relationship is mixed with hints of jealousy, even if it's not exactly addressed. Despite this, they still have a relatively good relationship and are labeled as friends within the Star Hub database. In a timecode from the CCTV campaign, Shelly is startled by Dynamike's shocking reappearance and jumps on Colt out of fear. This interaction further proves that they share a close bond, as such an action would rarely occur between strangers. Speaking of Colt, he is heavily rumored to be the son of literal partners, suggesting that she may have turned away from her criminal past, with the hope of changing her ways and rebuilding a bond with her son in the future. But you may be wondering, where does Pearl fit into all this? Well, to understand that, we need to look at Sam and Belle, who were once involved with the robot factory, but now hold a vendetta against all robots. Sam was a former factory worker before turning into a wanted member of the Gold Arm Gang. However, for some odd reason, that vendetta doesn't include Pearl, as they have sort of accepted her as their beloved daughter. The Star family gang are not the only ones associated with robotics. Pam from the Jungler trio is confirmed to be Jessie's biological mother, who we know has a reputation in fixing and repairing. These skills were seemingly passed down to Jessie as well, which is evident through her creation of Scrappy. Being a single mom is tough, but Pam's love for her daughter is undeniable. She'll do anything to ensure Jessie's well-being, even going as far as to reprogram an old Starr Park security bot to act as a nanny, who is also conveniently named Nanny. While the identity of Jessie's father remains a mystery, I have a strong feeling that he could be an evil character yet to be introduced into the game. This theory is supported by evidence coming directly from the Who Stole the Trophy campaign, where Jessie was revealed as the culprit. For the longest time, Jessie was believed to be an innocent kid, which raises the question, is Jessie truly as innocent as she seems? The simple answer is no. I believe that her good side comes from her mother Pam, while her darker, more wicked side may stem from her father. That might be a duality they explore more once this character is introduced into the game. And let's be honest, it would be the perfect setup for the villain trio we've all been waiting for. Furthermore, Jessie, being a social kid, has a group of friends she regularly spends time with, which are what I consider to be the lost children of Starr Park. This group includes Nita and Leon, Nita's best friend and partner in chaos Bonnie, as well as Gus, the true lost child. In addition to these five, Jessie is also best friends with Penny the Pirate. Penny is an adventurous teen, confirmed to be a little bit older than Jessie, and may serve as an inspirational role model for her. Jessie may admire Penny's complete freedom over her own life, which is something she secretly longs for. Jessie seems to also be a big superhero fan as well. She has tons of Super City Heroes merch in her room, including their themed calendar, and has even cosplayed as Surge at one point in time. Penny and her crewmates sail off in search of adventure, while Daryl, the sleepy captain, tries to slack off. Penny is all about the chaos, which is great considering Tick follows her like a loyal pet, ready to blow things up whenever needed. Leon and Nita, on the other hand, are biological siblings with a strong bond. Believe it or not, but as the older brother, Leon tends to be a little bit more dependent on his sister and relies heavily on her admiration and approval. He communicates less with others and much more with her. This is evident in his voice lines where he regularly echoes Nita's name. These two feral siblings are confirmed to be adopted by Bo, making him their stepdad, not their biological father. Another pair of siblings are Janet and Bonnie, with Janet being the older protective teen sister and Bonnie being the younger reckless one. Both of them, as stated in the release patch notes, have been adopted by Stu. That being said, Bonnie is actually kind of clueless when it comes to knowing her relation to him. She calls him Uncle Stu in her voice lines, but Papa Stu in an official Brawl Stars post, which makes me believe she's conflicted on his actual connection to her. To be fair, it's quite common for adopted children or stepchildren to not call their adopted figure mom or dad. I mean, after all, he is a robot. Larry and Lori are twin brothers, with Lori being the older sibling by a smidge. Both are law enforcers in Starr Park, fulfilling the roles of good cop, bad cop. One could interpret their relationship as the visual manifestation of the yin and yang, a core concept in Chinese philosophy representing the balance between opposing and interconnected forces. Their roles and physical appearances seem to support this idea. Larry has a bright, rule-abiding attitude and attire, while Lori, dressed in dark clothes with a more intimidating demeanor, is focused on enforcing those rules. Together, they work alongside their teammate RT, though surprisingly, we don't know a whole lot about the relationship with him. It's widely believed that the Star Hub trio is complete, with Larry and Lori counted as two separate brawlers, though this theory has yet to be confirmed. I am honestly conflicted on this, so let me know what you think in the comments. Given that they are robots and work directly under the authority of Starr Park, it's clear that Sam and Belle would not be fond of them. Although we haven't seen any interactions between them yet, I do think that is something we'll see in the future. Draco has 3 older brothers who were all featured in his introduction animation: Dorian, Damien, and Dexter. According to Fernanda, the lead art director on the Brawl team, Draco's brothers used to bully him as a child.
3 older brothers that kinda bullied him as a child,
but eventually formed a bond over his exceptional storytelling and his interest in Dungeons and Dragons.
But then he started to kinda get away from the fights with his brothers by telling them stories, and because of that he got into D&D.
Lumi, the second brawler in the Medieval Manor trio, fills the role of Draco's crush, though it's unclear if she's aware of it and or reciprocates the affection, since it was a secret that was most likely unintentionally exposed. Janet's talent as a singer is undeniable, but unfortunately, not everyone is a fan. Melody, the famous K-pop idol, has made it clear that she isn't too fond of Janet, constantly mocking her with thumbs down gestures whenever possible. That being said, Janet has never shown any resentment in return. As of recently, their beef seems to have faded because Melody has joined the Good Randoms group alongside Janet, implying that Melody has had a change of heart. Whatever the case may be, Janet doesn't seem too concerned because, after all, haters don't matter when you have good friends. Apart from Bonnie, she has been seen spending time with both BB and Amber, hinting at a possible friendship between them. Interestingly enough, all 3 of them seem to fall within the same relative age range, which might explain why they get along so well. But seriously, how could I talk about teenagers and drama without mentioning Ems? I couldn't, which is exactly why I'm bringing her up now. In the past, Ems was seen attending a concert alongside BB, suggesting that they likely share a similar taste in music. She was also spotted chatting with Penny, who later invited her to a party, hinting that they might also be friends as well. But being a teen comes with its toxicity, and let me tell you, Ems is no stranger to that. Under a post made by Colette, Ems left a pretty hateful comment, which implies that she isn't too fond of her. Believe it or not, but Ems's relationships don't end there. Her family connections run pretty deep as well. She's confirmed to be the niece of the mysterious mortician vampire Mortis, making him her uncle. That being said, the identity of her biological parents remains a mystery. Some speculate that Frank might be her father, since they are all part of the same trio, which makes sense logically. However, it's important to note that Frank has been confirmed to be Mortis' tenant, not his brother. He could be his brother-in-law, but nothing's been officially confirmed. If Frank was truly Mortis' brother, I feel like they'd lean into that a lot more, like they did with Bonnie and Janet, or Leon and Nita. They do share some brotherly banter, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they end up revealing them as siblings down the line. In the 2019 Brawloween animation, If you pause it at just the right frame in Mortis' house, you can spot a picture of a couple, an unknown female character, and a male figure that looks oddly similar to Mortis. Some have speculated that they could be Mortis' parents, which seems like a possibility. He could have inherited the house after they passed away, which could explain his entitled and arrogant behavior. But this raises another question. What about Em's parents? After all, this animation was a teaser for her release, so it's possible that the picture in Mortis' house might be a subtle hint about her parents instead. For all we know, it could be a framed photo of Em's mother and Em's father, who was Mortis' twin brother. Let me know your theories on who these unidentified characters could be. Now, onto the Mystic Trio. Sandy and Tara are confirmed to be siblings, with Tara being the older sister of Sandy, the narcoleptic younger brother. Apart from that, not much of their relationship is shown or known, but according to Sandy's description, he occasionally helps Tara around their store. Speaking of Sandy, have you ever wondered why he's always so sleepy? Well, that's because he doesn't use a mantis sleep mask, because if he did, he'd be getting uninterrupted high-quality rest every night. Now, I get it. Good sleep can be hard to come by these days, but that has all changed for me once I started using this mask. The mantis sleep mask blocks out all incoming light, without putting too much pressure on your head, giving you the perfect environment for sleep. And here's the cool part. It even has a built-in Bluetooth system, so you can fall asleep to relaxing ASMR sounds, or hey, even my lore videos, without having to worry about that bright phone screen waking you up in the middle of the night. I personally experienced the difference, and I can confidently say it's transformed my sleep quality. So if you're looking for better sleep like Sandy, and like I was, then check out the link in the description. And don't forget, using code Michael will get you 10% off any product. Get your Mantis sleep mask today, and enjoy a restful night's sleep, just like how relationships in Brawl Stars can sometimes benefit from a little peace and quiet. Take Spike, for example. He doesn't say a word, yet he has connections with numerous brawlers in the game, largely because of the symbol he represents as the mascot of Starr Park. For instance, Gus is known to be a big fan of Starr Park's mascot. He mentions him in many of his voice lines, showing excitement about the character and his eagerness to impress Spike with his abilities. As I've mentioned before, Gus is one of the lost children, and while he shares a close bond with the others, he's been isolated in the ghost station for a long time. Gus's encounter with a pile of clothes resulted in the creation of a life form we've come to know as Shade. Shade may be Gus's closest friend, but he's nearly invisible to everyone else, making him seem more like an imaginary friend. Over time, Gus has formed a bond with Chuck, seeing as though he's the only other one in the ghost station with him. Yet some have speculated that Chuck ran him over and is at fault for Gus becoming a supernatural entity. However, as I've theorized in the past, I believe his death came in connection with hazardous experiments at the hands of Starr Park. If you're interested in learning more about Gus or Chuck's lore, feel free to check out the videos linked below. Fair warning though, it does get quite dark. The Brawl Stars official account on X says Mortis and Michael, no, not me, the crazy old guy Dynamike used to be friends, but that's no longer the case. Even with their constant fighting, they don't hesitate to share a drink from time to time, but that is about as deep as their relationship goes. I assume their conflict relates to the concept of thrower versus assassin, and how that ties into the battle dynamics within the game. We've known from previous lore videos that Mortis isn't very fond of Colt. In what seems to be their first encounter, Mortis is already quite hostile, forming a grudge almost immediately. He even makes a subtle threat, implying that the grave he's digging is for Colt, all while sending a horde of bats in Colt's direction, presumably with the intent to kill him. Believe it or not, but someone might have a crush on Mortis, and that person is Willow, which begs the question, is she truly interested in him, or is she simply manipulating him? Given that Willow's entire character revolves around deception, it wouldn't be surprising if this quote-unquote romance is part of a larger scheme to lure Mortis into a trap. In a past social media post, Willow is shown sending Mortis a love letter, but at the same time, she is presented as a figure against the idea of love, which is further proven by her voice lines, such as,
"Romance? Not a chance."
Something that is rather interesting is a comment Fernanda made about Willow in a past installment of the No Time to Explain podcast.
The lagoon creature, like, it's almost like the love tunnel is a trap to attract people there and to kill them.
So based on Fernanda's comments, we learn that the way Willow captures people is by attracting them to the love tunnel. However, that was never something she did with Mortis. Instead, she delivered what appears to be a love letter and flowers directly to him, with no mind control device in sight. If she really intended on capturing Mortis, it would be way easier for her to just knock on his door and throw that tadpole thing on him. So Willow approaching Mortis in this romantic way makes me believe that her intentions might be a little different here. If it was really a luring trap, it would make way more sense for her to just stick to her usual methods, rather than switch up to something entirely different. Either way, the idea of Mortis possibly being romantically tied to a character built entirely around manipulation is a compelling angle to play at. That being said, I couldn't move forward without mentioning Willow's close friendship with Angelo. The two love to stir up gossip and drama, and who knows, maybe Angelo's even in on Willow's plan with Mortis. We'll just have to wait and see. Now let's quickfire through some notable romances. It's widely known that Poco and Ems are romantically tied together. In the beginning, the relationship was quite unbalanced as it was more one-sided on Ems's part. However, over time, Poco has actually been seen to reciprocate her affection, hinting that the relationship has developed over the years. She has been seen time and time again, sending him selfies and admiring him from a distance, while he's been shown getting quite emotional at the thought that she might be in love with Colt. They were also seen together in the Swamp of Love, which means the relationship is growing more intimate. Surprisingly, it doesn't end there for Ems, because while she is taken back by Poco's obvious good looks, Edgar seems to be doing the same for her. In a past Brawl Stars post, we can spot Ems admiring Poco, while Edgar secretly watches her from the window. He is seen seemingly making a heart shape with his scarf, implying that he is romantically interested in her. He also appears in the same Swamp of Love animation with Poco and Ems, where he serves as our point of view. This unfortunately paints him as the third wheel, who can't confess his feelings towards Ems due to fear of rejection. Another one-sided relationship in the lore involves Fang, who has a big crush on Shelly, but she doesn't seem to return any of those feelings. She instead seems to be more focused on her work as a sheriff alongside Colt. That being said, she is aware of his feelings towards her. I mean, he's not exactly subtle about it. This dynamic has led to quite the tension between Fang and Colt, and it's easy to see why. Colt and Shelly are close colleagues, and Fang probably feels like Colt's always around, trying to steal Shelly's attention. But let's be real, he probably never stood a chance in the first place. Bibi and Edgar seem to be close friends who hang out a lot. In older posts, they were often seen fighting, but in more recent appearances, they seem to get along better. Either their relationship has genuinely developed, or they're just friends who fight all the time. These two have also been seen befriending Ollie in his introduction animation, where they seem to view him as a cool kid to hang out with. In the same animation, Ollie is shown hanging out with Spike a lot. This could be because he's known as the unspoken mascot of Starr Park. Edgar is a big fan of rock and metal music, and he's even been seen fanboying over Draco. He's attended a Bad Randoms concert before alongside Bibi, Ems, and even Spike, all of whom are shown to be big fans. Edgar has the Bad Randoms logo on his shirt, and Bibi even has a skin based on it, so suffice to say, they have a lot in common. Carl gets along quite well with Dynamike, as the two are co-workers down in the mines and share a fascination with gems. However, Carl's behavior makes it clear that he doesn't feel the same way about Jessie. In his introductory animation, he was seen hanging a defaced portrait of Jessie, something that he most likely vandalized himself. Additionally, Carl thinks a little too highly of himself, so it's easy to see why he might be jealous of Jessie, especially considering the fact that she's a child prodigy. Carl and Jackie also share double-sided hatred for each other. She hates him for being annoying, and he hates her for being loud as fuck. Max and Meg also have quite the conflict. She refuses to let Meg enter the battlefield because of her weaker physique. Their rise and fall relationship has even made it into Starr Park news magazines, where a heading questions the state of their friendship. Some brawlers are sworn enemies, and Hank and Kenji are a great example. Hank is dedicated to protecting sea creatures from the food market, and that includes chefs. Kenji is a prime example of this, as it was revealed to us that Hank had once been on his menu. This theory is further supported by the appearance of Hank's helmet. It can be spotted on both the chopping table during the sushi event and in multiple Kenji animations. I assume the helmet acts as a small Easter egg of their ongoing feud. Speaking of the sushi event, with the arrival of that update, we got extensive lore on the tragedy surrounding Kenji, called the Battle for Katana Kingdom. Specifically, we got introduced to Kaze, who is Kenji's wife. We knew from Kenji's introductory animation that she was abducted by robot samurai, presumably killed, and never seen or heard from again. However, her arrival in the game suggests there's more to the story. In the My Sweet Valentine animation, Frank destroyed the most important figure in Rico's life before Piper, a vending machine. This event is subtly referenced several times afterwards, including in a brief audio from the CCTV campaign.
Starr Park Security, what's the emergency?
Somebody put a gem in the gumball machine and it came alive. Then the gumball machine kissed the vending machine and kind of carried it off into the sunset like it was his girlfriend.
While it might be easy to overlook, Rico may still hold a grudge against the big fat brick. I mean, I would. Through his past experiences as a teacher, Grom developed a condition called pedophobia, which refers to the fear of children. This fear may extend to Nita, Leon, Jessie, Bonnie, and Gus, who we know to be the children of Starr Park. His introductory animation offers us glimpses of his traumatic past, showing flashbacks of notable events. While we haven't been given a full backstory, it's possible that some of these children were once his students. Certain visual elements in the animation seem to connect to specific brawlers. The explosion could symbolize Bonnie, the gum might represent Leon, and the bear could be linked to Nita. Either way, we learn that teaching has since left him with irreversible mental damage, manifesting in the form of severe post-traumatic stress. We did also see Amber and Ems causing havoc in his animation, which seemed to trigger a distressed response from him. This could suggest that his fear extends to teenagers as well, or that their behavior simply reminded him of his traumatic past with children. More recently, we learned that Grom adopted a blind rat named Mo and helped him find a role within Starr Park. Technically speaking, Lola, being the unequivocal star of Brawlywood, is a celebrity, so it's no surprise how adored she is by the general public. For instance, we saw Colette sneaking into her room with flowers, and Eve hanging a poster of Lola in her spaceship. However, even though Lola and Gray are in the same trio, they despise each other and have from the very beginning. It all sprouts from Lola's obnoxious behavior and her constant need to be the center of attention. This takes the spotlight off of Gray, which she obviously doesn't like. Unfortunately, Gray being a mime means he can't really speak up about it, so suffering in silence he shall. Miko, on the other hand, couldn't give two bananas about their drama because he's too concerned with feeding his ego and gaining clout from spreading bogus claims.
What, you don't believe me? Am I a joke to you?
This was something we saw in Miko's introductory animation, where he claimed to be close friends with Martin Scorsese, one of the greatest directors of all time. However, in the animation, Lola doesn't seem to take him so seriously, probably because he's a monkey. This means that he most likely has a civil relationship with his crew. Buster and Fang's relationship is like the polar opposite of Lola and Gray's. They actually like each other and get along, mostly because they strive for the same thing. Both of them are movie fanatics and share the same dream of becoming movie stars one day. They have a very strong bromance together and are each other's best friends. Their risky and adventurous behavior turns into problems real quick, and Maisie is always there stepping in to do the damage control. She plays the role of the big sister to them, trying to be the responsible one, but deep down, she loves participating in their adventures. Speaking of bros, El Primo and Bull seem to be close friends. They often appear together in posts and animations, and their shared interest in bodybuilding likely sparked their friendship. Additionally, El Primo and Rosa's gym buddy relationship is the one officially confirmed by Brawl Stars themselves. B is Rosa's right-hand woman, mostly because they both spend their time in the biodome, taking care of plants and insects. Together, they also built Sprout to be a helping hand for them in gardening, and to act as an incubator for a mysterious seed inside it. Bull, BB, and Crow are, as you know, all part of the same gang. They don't have any blood relation, but they are each other's closest family. The same could be said for nearly all the trios in the game, apart from ones like Brawlywood or the Gem Miners, where some members just despise each other. It's fair to say that within their trio, Crow is the most mysterious, especially considering the fact that Bull, despite his tough appearance, is a hardcore Melodia. That makes him a true softie, whereas Crow clearly isn't. His daggers are even shown penetrating Daryl's model, hinting at a possible past encounter between the two. He also seems to have a connection to some cat within the Brawl Stars universe, either the Brawler Kit, the cat we see in association with the Alley Cat Bullskin, or it could possibly be retconned. Additionally, the investor video features Crow alongside two other birds, resembling Bo and Mr. P, who were part of a show called Stepbirds. But this doesn't necessarily indicate any real connection to those brawlers or between them. Stepbirds was simply a show starring some of Starr Park's mascots before they became the living characters they are now. Everyone hates Mr. P. Even though Gale works for him, I'm sure, deep down, he hates him too. Imagine what kind of monster you have to be to employ a senior to do hard labor work around a hotel. Maybe if he wasn't so strict and unfriendly, people would actually like him. But right now, he is in the running for the most hated brawler in the Brawl Stars universe. 8-Bit was brought to life by Dynamike's actions, so in a way, he owes his life to him. We saw this in 2023 with the CCTV campaign. In the footage dated 24/11/95, 12/02/25, we witnessed Dynamike placing gems on top of 8-Bit, seemingly awakening his true form. Sadly, there isn't much known about the arcade machine's relations with other brawlers. However, it would have been cool to see him go on a rampage against all the brawlers who mistreated him. You think that 8-Bit would be pissed at Bull for violating him by shoving ice cream up his thingy. But instead, we saw him fist bump Bull before heading into a bar for drinks. I guess it's just another textbook case of retconning. Colette's unbearable obsession with all the brawlers has made her technically connected to all of them. She's lost her mind and reached the point of madness, where her entire life revolves around collecting items from her favorite brawlers. Among them, Piper and Spike receive Colette's favoritism compared to the others. Her insanity usually drives people away, but even with her weirdness, she was able to create a bond with her coworkers, having a close friendship with her teenage colleague Edgar, and a relatively respectful business relationship with Griff. However, Griff is rather stingy and doesn't seem to pay this respect back. He often steals tips from his coworkers to make a living out of his failing business. This hasn't seemed to faze Colette yet, but it's definitely had a negative effect on Edgar. Squeak is literally dog drool, originating from the drool that accumulated on Ruff's dog toys. As crazy as that sounds, this makes him a biological offspring of Ruff's. Squeak's behavior closely resembles that of a young, energetic puppy, one that Ruff's tries his best to take care of. Mandy is the self-proclaimed queen of the Candyland shop, which wrongfully puts her in charge of Chester and Barry. Speaking of Chester, his relationship with Mandy is quite complicated, or, as the romantics like to call it, a love-hate relationship. Chester, being the chaotic troublemaker he is, shows his affection through pranks and annoyance, with Mandy being his favorite target. Their twisted relationship and daily mayhem turns Barry's work hours into non-stop headaches. No matter how much he complains about the place, deep down he loves the little family he has with Mandy and Chester. Being the Candy Queen also makes Mandy a beloved figure among her customers, who are mostly children. But despite her sweet attitude around them, she remains sour whenever the guests aren't around. Cordelius was quick to create a new friendship with Lily as soon as he found her in the Enchanted Forest. He had suffered from loneliness for a long time prior to her introduction, a situation which we can assume applies to many brawlers that start a trio but are left on their own for a while before others are added. I'm talking about you, Buzz. Lily canonically used to be a human before she was transformed into the creature she is now. Lily's love for witchcraft and sorcery was what attracted her to Starr Park and the Enchanted Forest in the first place. This causes many to theorize a former relation between Lily and the oddity shop owner Guju, but more info needs to be gathered before we can come to a definitive conclusion. Stu is in a band with Poco and Buzz called the Bad Randoms, which pretty much speaks for itself. And of course, the same is true for the polar opposite, the Good Randoms, which has the addition of Janet and recently Melody. El Primo, Poco, and Amber are all entertainers competing for the spotlight, yet this competition doesn't create any tension between them. In fact, they've been shown to support one another on multiple occasions. Byron, Piper, and Barley all own shops in the Old Town Square, though it's unclear how close they are outside of work. Thankfully, they each sell different products, so the competition between them isn't too intense, and they likely maintain a solid co-worker relationship. That is probably for the best, considering that Piper spends her free time cooking up homemade explosives. In Season 12, to promote the new Love Spray, there were special love pin offers based on pins you didn't have. The offers included heart pins for Bull and Shelly, Piper and Rico, Leon and Penny, and Pam and Jessie. With 2 confirmed relationships among the offers, it's clear that these pairings weren't chosen randomly. However, including Pam and Jessie also suggests that not all of these connections are romantic and some might represent family or friendship bonds instead. This left us with two uncategorized pairings, Bull and Shelly, and Leon and Penny. If I were to make a prediction on these relationships, I would assume that Bull and Shelly's is a romantic bond, and Leon and Penny's is a friendship bond. Pam might have a crush on one of the newest brawlers, Jae Young. The loading screen for his release depicted Pam absolutely starstrucken by him. It's unclear whether she is just a hardcore fan or romantically interested in him, but I have a hunch that the hard eyes hint at something deeper. In Jae Young's animation, he mentions that he hangs out with Belle and Sam every night.
Every night I strap on my tie and hang with these guys.
This is a very interesting detail, considering that Jae Young is an office worker for Starr Park, and Sam and Belle are actively fighting against it. This has led to a popular theory that Sam and Belle are just using their time with Jae Young to discreetly gather information and steal paperwork while he's busy jamming. There might be something spicy going on between Stu and Nanny, because in an official Brawl Stars post, Stu can be spotted dedicating his move directly to Nanny in the crowd. At first, this could just be seen as acknowledging a fan. However, when you consider that Poco did the same thing with Ems, who are basically confirmed to be in a relationship, it could suggest something similar with Stu and Nanny. In Shade's introductory animation, we saw a heart-shaped sign with Buster XB on it. This most likely hints at a romantic relationship involving Buster, but even to this day, we still don't know what character the singular B is referring to. Many have theorized that it's the brawler B, but there isn't enough solid evidence to confirm that. So if you have any ideas, feel free to share them in the comments. Shelly used to have a cat named Kit, but we later learned that it went missing. For years we got no clarity on what happened to it, though it was clear that the cat wasn't just a random detail. Many people now believe that the brawler Kit might be her long-lost kitten, though the lack of interactions between them makes it seem like they're different cats. Either way, I do think that naming the brawler Kit is a direct callback to Shelly's cat. Guju may have a dispute with the gift shop staff. In her animation, she specifically targets customers in the gift shop as well as Colette, one of the shop's employees. Given that Guju owns a shop of her own, it would make sense for her to be competing for business, although her methods of doing so are rather unorthodox. She has also been seen with a Griff voodoo doll in some artwork. Griff is the owner of the Starr Park gift shop, which aligns well with this theory, although it's unclear if that artwork is actually canon. To celebrate Valentine's Day, Brawl Stars introduced the Bochular event, where the community got to vote on which of the 10 brawlers should be shipped with Bo. In the end, Charlie won the popular vote and even shared a passionate kiss with Bo. While it's not clear yet whether this event will become canon, the video began by noting Brawl Stars' history of turning community ships into official lore. Given that context, and considering the passionate reactions from fans like Colin, this pairing could very well become official. I mean, the amount of evidence he's gathered to support why Bo and Charlie should be together is actually crazy. With all of that said, these relationships really do have the potential and connection to be considered canon, but only time will tell. If you made it this far, then you might actually be a hardcore Brawl Stars fan. And what better way to prove it than by watching another hour-long video, diving into the lore of every brawler in the game. Enjoy, and thanks for watching.